Hello, good afternoon, my dear student from 4A, B, and C. The agenda for today is going to be the welcome, reflection, emotional content that we are going to watch a story about through. We are going to watch a story about a boy that is very honest, singing a song by the song I Walk. Remember that we were talking about Navajo's culture. We are going to continue with this. A time to read. And one immigrant inventor. Pages 54, 55, and 56. Reading packs. We are gonna finish our unit number 3 in our student book. The contents are gonna be the Iceman and the unit review. And then we are gonna develop the practice book for these pages and finally the question and answer. Remember that if you cannot understand a part of my class, you can ask me on question and answer, or you can ask me on the chat, or if you cannot watch the live classes, you can watch after because they will be recorded on my channel, and you can ask me to my email address. You can send me an email to oscar020189@gmail.com. Let's start. Students, good afternoon. Today we are gonna study and we are gonna finish our unit number 3 with the story of Jeff Huffman, the Iceman, and we are gonna have a little review of our unit. We are gonna continue our reading about An Wang, immigrant inventor, and we are gonna study more about Navajo's culture. Let's start and let's do it. Let's enjoy the class.
An honest boy. Once there was a very poor but honest boy named Paul. One day the king visited Paul's small village, and the villagers all came out to greet the king. The king was giving away cookies and candy. Paul and the villagers crowded near the king's carriage to try to get some. Finally, the king got to Paul and gave him some candy. Paul was so excited, he rushed home to share the candy with his family. When Paul returned home, he noticed there was a beautiful ring among all the candy. He thought to himself that this ring could make him rich, and he and his family no longer had to worry about not having enough food to eat. After thinking about what to do all day, Paul decided to return the ring to the king. Paul went to the palace and returned the king's ring. The king was very thankful and said to Paul, "This is my favorite ring. You are a very honest young man, and I want to reward you with this gold." From that day, Paul was a very rich boy, and his family never went hungry again.
The last class we were talking about the Navajo's culture. We were talking about this song. Today it's time only to practice the song. I need to you try to do it at home. At home, remember the page is 103. This is gonna help us to pronounce better the words, and you are gonna understand better what is the meaning of this song. Let's listen and sing. I need you to sing at your home, please. Please sing. the song I walk, crystal lawn teaches me by the song I walk. Bluebird sounds before me by the song I walk. Cornfield sounds behind me by the song I walk. By means of pollen, a strong step. By this song I walk. By this song I walk. The next class you are gonna sing the song and you will. It's not gonna be evaluated activity only for the people that wants to send me a video that you are singing the song that you are practicing. The next class. Well, let's continue with our reading. Well, before to start the class, I will explain something, and we are gonna talk about the author purpose. The author purpose, el propósito del autor de este libro, de esta lectura. In this case, the history that we are going to read was written by Daniel McHenry and illustrated by Maria Wernick. But I want to explain this, what is the purpose of our reading, because many times we read and we couldn't understand what is the story about. For that reason, we are missing the important things of this reading, and this is going to help us to comprehend the reading, and there are skills and strategies that are going to help us to understand better. I will tell you the four main reasons for writing a story are to inform or tell about something, to explain or describe what something is like or how something works, to entertain or make the reading enjoyable or funny, and to persuade or convince the reading to do something or to think the way the author does. Sometimes authors have more than one purpose for writing a story. For example, what do you think that this author, Daniel McHenry, wrote this story? To inform? To entertain? What do you think? To inform what happened with An Wang and what happened with the story of him. We are gonna listen page 53, 54, and 55. I want you to read too. And after I will ask you some questions. Let's start. Let's listen. Let's pay attention.
An Wang, a Chinese American, faced hardships and difficulty. As a young adult, he saw war. He had to deal with the death of his parents. Still, he was able to overcome challenges and fulfill his dreams. Wang left his home country of China to make a new home in the United States. He worked hard and persevered to become a great inventor and a successful businessman. Even with all his success, he never forgot his cultural roots. Student engineer. An Wang was born in Shanghai, China in 1920. He had 4 brothers and sisters. Wang's parents believed that learning was important. They encouraged their children to work hard in school and to appreciate education. Wang's father was an English teacher. He helped his children learn the English language. Wang's education enabled him to be successful. Wang became interested in math at a very young age. He also found technology fascinating. He built a radio while studying at one of the best high schools in China. At that time, radio technology was new and exciting. In 1936, Wang continued his schooling at Chiao Tung University in Shanghai. The school had excellent science programs. There, Wang studied engineering. 1 year later, his life changed. In 1937, Japan invaded China. The Japanese moved in to take over Shanghai. Many Chinese lost their lives in the fighting and the bombing of the city. Wang's parents and one of his sisters were killed. But Wang did not let his sadness defeat him. In 1940, he graduated from the university with a degree in electrical engineering. After that, Wang taught at the university for a year. Then he worked as a radio engineer for the Chinese government.
Well, we already listened the 3 pages that we have to. I will ask some question about An Wang. As you can see, he was a success man because we were reading about him, and on the first page it says that. Well, I will ask a question about page 53. It says, what is An Wang's home country? What is An Wang's home country? El Salvador, United States, or China? What is An Wang's home country? El Salvador, United States, or China? Remember that you can type the answer on the chat. Second question from page 53. What happened to his parents? What happened to his parents? Father and mother. What happened to his parents? Sorry. They died. The reason, the war. Yeah. Much of us think that the World War II began in 1940, but Japan and China were fighting. They were on war before started the Second World War. China and Japan fall. They started to fall in 1937. For that reason, they began the Second World War. Well, next question. Page 54. When was An Wang born? When was An Wang born? When was An Wang born? When? Not where. When? When? Remember, you can type the answer on the chat. In 1920, very good. And finally, page 55, because we are going to continue for class. What did Japan do during the war in 1937? What did Japan do during the war in 1937? Hey, Japan, imagine Japan invaded China. Very good. Each country invaded China. What is invasion? It's a war. Huh? Well, let's continue with for the student book. We are going to finish our story about Iceman, and we are going to try to complete our unit review. Thank you. Well, the last class I told you that you have to read this story about the Iceman, the true story of a superhuman, win half. But today we are gonna read it, we are gonna listen. In the next class we are gonna make or complete the unit review because it's a lot of information. To you not confused, we are gonna develop only this one, this story. I want to you try to open page 44. We are gonna listen the story, we are gonna read it, and then we are gonna answer the pages about this one. He thinks that he is a superhuman, but we are gonna discover if he is or if he is not. Extract 31. Take up your student book and we are gonna finish. Let's listen.
Track 31. The Iceman. The True Story of a Superhuman. Part 1.
Wim Hof of the Netherlands is a man with an incredible talent. He can tolerate freezing temperatures that would kill a normal person. Here are some examples of his extraordinary feats. Hof spent over an hour up to his neck in ice. He ran a half marathon in the Arctic Circle in the winter in his bare feet and wearing only shorts. The temperature was minus 30 degrees Celsius. He swam under the ice on a lake for over 50 meters wearing just a swimsuit and goggles. He climbed the highest mountain in Europe in shorts. Hof holds 9 world records, including the longest ice immersion, the fastest barefoot half marathon, and the longest swim under ice. His nickname is the Iceman. Scientists are surprised by Hof's unusual ability to tolerate extremely cold temperatures. When a normal person is exposed to severe cold, a dangerous condition called hypothermia develops. At first, your pulse and breathing become faster. But later, as your body temperature drops, your pulse and breathing decrease. Muscles become difficult to control, and the brain starts to slow. Eventually, major organs begin to fail. Without treatment, death is inevitable. When scientists tested Hof in a laboratory, they discovered that he does not have a normal response to low temperatures. When most people are in conditions of extreme cold, they feel intense pain. Their breathing and pulse get very quick, and they panic. But when Hof enters a tank of extremely cold water, his body does not go into shock. He remains calm, he controls his heart rate and breathing, and his body temperature stays the same.
Imagine you can do that you are not gonna have cold. Well, we have to develop this. It says read and answer the question with a classmate. We are gonna do it together. It says, how is Wim Hof different from most people? How is Wim Hof different from most people? He supported low temperatures. He supports low temperatures. Él soporta bajas temperaturas. No, not all the people support low temperatures. Number 2. How do most people react to extreme cold? How do most people react to extreme cold? Look at here. At first, your pulse and breathing become faster. But later, as your body temperature drops, your pulse and breathing decrease. Muscles become difficult to control, and the brain starts to be too slow. Eventually, major organs begin to fail. How do most people react to extreme cold? They feel cold. They feel terrible. Number 3. What is Hof's most impressive feat? Which is Hof's most impressive feat? Let's find it here. Hof holds 9 world records, including the longest ice immersion, the fastest barefoot half marathon, and the longest swim under ice. Well, you can write whatever of these actions that he did. And finally, what do you do when you are very cold? What do you do when you are very cold? For example, me, teacher Oscar, when I'm very cold, I drink a cup of chocolate, a hot chocolate, and I put a sweater. I put a sweater on me. I wear a sweater. Huh? And a hat. Well, we already complete this first question. We are gonna continue. Is track 32. Let's pay attention because here the scientists are gonna say if half is a superhuman or is not a superhuman. Let's check it out what happened. Oh, sorry, it's not here. Let's read it. So how does half do it? In his body, different some way. Is his skin thicker than normal? Are his hair and other... Sorry, I will do it. So far, so how does half do it? In his body different in some way? Is his skin thicker than normal? Are his hair and other organs stronger than an average person's? So far, scientists have not found any physical or genetic explanation or half superhuman ability. As far as they can tell, his body is perfectly normal, although his feats are considered scientifically impossible. The difference, half believe, is that he is able to control his mind. Imagine that he is making this only controlling his mind. Well, continue. Many years ago, Half began to study an ancient meditation technique called Tumo, usually practiced by Tibetan monks. To learn Tumo, the monk sits outside in freezing temperatures covered in wet sheets. Through meditation, they are able to generate heat and raise their body temperature. As a result, the sheets dry and even the ice around them melts. Half is one of the first people outside Tibet to master Tumo meditation. Half is determined to break more world records. For his next challenge, he wants to climb Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, wearing only shorts, but many people have criticized his plans, saying they are too dangerous. Over 200 climbers have died while attempting to reach the top of Everest, and around 150 bodies remain in the ice near the summit. Half has already tried to climb once in 2007, although he did not reach the top because he hurt his foot. But he will try again because he is determined to prove his critics wrong. Have amazing abilities seem superhuman, but scientists believe we all have the same potential. The hard part is learning how to use it. How to use it, this kind of technique of Tumo. Tibetan monks did it, they says. Well, number one, true or false? Half skin is thicker than normal. How skin is thicker than normal? ¿Es más gruesa la piel de él que la de un humano normal? False, it's false. Half is similar to Tibetan monks in some ways. Half is similar to Tibetan monks in some ways. Yes, true, because he learned. Number three, have used Tumo meditation to dry his washing? Have used Tumo meditation to dry his washing? True. Have climbed the top of Mount Everest in 2007? False, he couldn't. It says here that he hurt his leg. Number five, scientists think Half is a superhuman? It's false. It's false. Well, this is the student book. We are going to continue with our practice book. Finally, we are going to have the reading comprehension pages from our practice book. This is about the reading about half. And here, this page, I want you to do it alone because it's about what you understand about the reading, and you can do it with your student book. It says, put the stage of hypothermia in the correct order. Number 1, you are exposed to string cold, and you are going to find the number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And here, there is incorrect information. You are going to correct the sentences. For example, number 1, have run a marathon in Antarctica. Have run a half marathon in the Arctic Circle. I will help you on page 42 practice book because I want you to understand about this vocabulary. It says, match the word with their definitions. The number 1, listen, the number 1. What is gonna be the number 1? What allows an individual to feel and reason? What allows an individual to feel and reason? Mind, genetic, related to or caused by the genes. Freezing, number 3. You are gonna match only. Freezing, very, very cold. Freezing is very, very cold. Meditation. It's a mental exercise to become more aware. Meditation, a mental exercise to become more aware. Average. Average. The normal level. Average, the normal level. 6. Fit. Fit. An extraordinary act of skill or endurance. An extraordinary act of skill or endurance. Extreme. Extreme. Look at extreme. Very great, the highest degree. Very great, the highest degree. And number 8, sheet. A large piece of cotton used to cover a bed. Sheet, a large piece of cotton used to cover a bed. Remember that we are doing right now. If you think that I am wrong, because I can, you can do it. Try to check it out, the meaning of and the concepts, and you will find if I am wrong in 1 or 2. Next, second part, read and circle the correct answers. Number 1, a normal person exposed to extreme cold temperatures survives, eventually dies, or drowns. A, B, or C is the correct answer. You can help me on the chat. Well, I always said is letter B, eventually dies. Number 2, Half is able to withstand extreme cold because his skin is thicker than average. He's used to do it. He's able to raise his body temperature by meditating. It's letter A, B, or C. Is letter A, B, or C? Number 2 is letter C. Number 3. Number 3. In order to learn Tumo, Tibetan monks swim under a lake covered in ice, spend an hour each day sitting in an ice bath, sit outside in freezing temperatures covered in wet sheets. Hey, is A, B, or C? C. Sit outside in freezing temperatures covered in wet sheets. Number 4. Number 4. Half didn't reach the top of Everest because scientists didn't allow him to continue. He ran out of oxygen. He hurt his foot. Letter A, B, or C. C. He hoarded his food. Well, this is the class for today. If you have a question, you can ask me on question and answer. Remember, the next class we are going to continue with our unit review. Thank you so much. Blessings and see you soon. Take care, please. Bye bye.